Hi, thanks for coming out on this rainy, depressing Saturday morning, which England have lost the rugby and everyone's feeling a bit so thanks for coming out. So we've got a few bits and bobs just to sort of take you through for the next sort of hour or so. Then we'll have some questions, and then hopefully we'll all be done in the next couple of hours. Right. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sally Burrell. I'm one of the directors of Hemsby Belle Aire Limited, and it was my dad who built the site originally back in 1971. I think the first brick was laid. I'm sure you all know Alec, who has been around forever, since creation. And I'm sure a lot of you will also know Pete, who's been with us for the last 12 months, who joined us as kind of customer experience manager.
Is that your mum?
And we'll sort of go into some of the reasons why we thought that was necessary in a second. So I just wanted to get a quick show of hands. How many chalet owners have we got versus caravan owners? Chalet owners? Caravan owners? Pretty fair split? Yeah, we'll have a competition later. Which we won't. Lee might be able to think of something interesting to do. So I'm afraid we've only got this screen. Technology has slightly let us down, so we can't share the presentation on all the screens. But can everybody see this screen okay? No? We're in the way. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Right, that's fine. We're going to move across, but... Right, so, without further ado, here we go. Owners meeting. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about some of the stuff that we've been doing over the past year, some of the stuff where we're sort of trying to get to, and to talk about some sort of specific bits and bobs which may or may not be of interest to you, but some sort of specific issues kind of in and around the park. We're going to break, I think, hopefully in about an hour. You'll all see you've got post-it notes on the table. If there's a question that you have, write it down clearly, please, so that we can read it, and put it on that easel thing over there. And then what we'll try and do is see how many, so that we're answering kind of clusters of questions rather than answering individual questions. So I'm sure there'll be lots of people who've got similar questions. Obviously, if you have a specific issue that is, relatable to you as an individual, then it's probably better that you take that up separately, outside of this meeting via an email or a phone call. Okay? So, anything else? So, where are we? Well, Hemsby. Here we are. Greetings from Hemsby. And I think one of the things about this place is that it just doesn't seem to change, particularly from one year to the next. And since I was a child and I used to come here with my granny and my cousins, and we were just sort of thrown outside and left to roll around in the dunes for a while, it was, it really hasn't changed an awful lot, which I think is one of the things that we all love about it, and it's the simple pleasures that we love, the fish and chips, the sort of the sandy beach, the arcades, and all of that stuff are the things that we love about Hemsby. So, since the 70s, since this place was built, not a lot has changed, except it has changed hugely. Life has moved on massively. When you think about all of the things that have happened, have been invented, you know, we didn't have barcodes, we didn't have everything, you know, DNA we didn't even know about that. So any crime that was solved was by sort of fingerprints and, you know, a clever policeman. So life has changed unbelievably. And there are some great things, but there are also some sort of simple pleasures that just don't seem to change. Although there are some things that we would like to leave well into the 70s, namely haircuts like these, and perhaps sometimes the holiday experiences that some of us may have experienced, you know, had in the 70s, where you sort of turn up to a holiday camp and you're handed, you know, you're sort of handed a key to a drafty chalet, and it's, you know, all of that stuff. We're sort of happy that those things have kind of been left behind. So we were looking at, you know, the park, the business, Hemsby, everything, and bearing in mind that we've got, you know, that the world has moved on an awful lot since this place was first conceived and built. And there have been some changes, you know, since the first bricks were laid. You know, we put in a caravan park, which was put in about 20 years ago. There wasn't a club. So those are things which have kind of evolved. But we're sort of thinking, actually, the pace of change is going at such a pace, we really need to have a think about how we stay relevant and, you know, we stay on the map, really, within the world of holidays and, you know, especially within Norfolk. And one of the things that we noticed was that a lot of other business owners around the place haven't really changed, and you can sort of see, you can begin to see on some of the parks and things around where they're starting to look a bit tired and a bit dated and a bit old, and we thought, right, we don't want to be stuck in the past. We want to kind of keep everything as modern and as relevant as we possibly can. So we thought, right, well, how do we set about doing this? What are we going to do? So for about the past 3 or 4 years, we've been sort of steadily trying to kind of look at things and try and understand where we needed to go, and to think sort of strategically, really, about kind of where Belle Aire needed to be positioned in order to kind of remain successful, so that people will still want to come on holiday here, the value of people's assets still remained as, you know, as high as they've always been, and that Belle Aire is still a place with a really good reputation and a place people want to come on holiday. So what did we look at? How are we going to change this part? What are we going to do? We looked at the marketplace. The market for holidays in the UK has changed unbelievably in the past decade alone, let alone before that. More and more people are going on holiday in the UK. And the reason for that is because more people are having more holidays. So they're not necessarily doing the waiting until the summer, until the factory closes and going off for 2 weeks to, you know, Butlins or somewhere like they may have done when this place was first built. But they're having short breaks. They're going on holiday for 2 weeks in the summer. They're taking, you know, maybe a half term off with the kids. People are investing more in their leisure time, and they're having more holidays, but maybe not quite so long. So that's one thing. People are prepared to travel a little bit further. People want to go on holiday with their pets. Glamping has happened. That's changed the market entirely as well. Music festivals. There's a whole generation of people who are now having their own kids and taking their kids to music festivals. They're a family-run music festival. It's not all kind of, you know, drug-fueled Glastonbury mud baths these days anymore. So we had a look at the market, and that was all looking pretty good, actually, pretty fertile, and thinking, well, this actually isn't half bad. And depending on what happens with Brexit and Europe and the pound being kind of weak against the euro, the UK holiday has actually been performing even better since 2016, since the 2016 vote. We also spoke to loads of customers. Some of you might remember that in the what we call the TARDIS, which is now the shop cafe, we set up a video diary room a couple of summers ago, And we had someone here who was sort of plucking people off the park, getting them into the video diary room and talking to them about their holiday experience. So about Belle Aire, about Hemsby, about where they went on holiday, what they liked, what they didn't like, from food to holidays to everything. And if we found out lots and lots of really useful things, one of which was that there is a real pattern of people who come here tend to have come here when they were children, and now they're coming back with their own children or their grandchildren. And we see loads and loads of families and generations all coming on holiday together, and they just love the place, and there's that sort of, that real link, nostalgic link to the past, and that people want their kids to have the same childhood memories that they had, which is largely consisting around kind of freedom, kids being able to kind of be free, they're safe, they're running around, they're simple pleasures, they're not sitting on FIFA or, you know, in front of their games console day in, day out, they're out there playing. And I have to say, in the summer, one of the things I love to see is just a bunch of kids running around on that green, and they're all sweaty in their hair and sticking to their heads and taking their t-shirts off, and they're running around going absolutely mental. And I just think that's the best thing. I just love seeing that. So, I mean, and that is really what people said to us, that they love coming here because it's a family place, it's simple, it's lovely. The other thing that we learned about were cobs. We get a lot of people from the Midlands here, and we didn't know what a cob was, but we do now. Cobs are rolls, and they were always saying to us, oh, what we really, really want are cobs. Oh, rolls. Okay, fine, right. So we now have cobs, as you might notice, are now on the menu. We also went around a whole bunch of other holiday parks, and as we've mentioned, you know, some are better than others. But a lot of them are very mixed, actually. You know, you can see that there are some holiday parks that are very well looked after, some that aren't quite so well looked after, some individual properties that are really well looked after, some individual properties that aren't so well looked after, etc., etc. You know, we went to Haven, which is kind of at the top end of the spectrum, where holidays are really expensive, and you would be expecting to be paying probably £1,000 for a week, you know, in a Haven park, depending on which type of unit you were in, but you could be paying up to that kind of money for a week in the summer. Through to Park Dean, not so sure about that as an experience, but people seem to like it. And of course, Richardson's across the road, 3 or 4 years ago, have started investing £10 million in their park to bring it kicking and screaming into the 21st century. So I don't know how many of you remember what Richardson's used to be like when it was Seacroft, but they were the old, drafty, post-war, drafty chalets of old, which really weren't very comfortable and really weren't very nice. But Richardson's have looked at that site across the road, bearing in mind they've got holiday businesses, you know, all over East Anglia, and thought, no, we're going to invest a lot of money here in Hemsby because they could see the value in it. So whether or not we think they've done a great job or not such a great job, not so sure, but certainly they've put the money where their mouth is and have invested in the area, which we thought at the time, this is great because this gives Hemsby a real sense of the future. So our sort of conclusions really of doing all of this kind of research was that there are 3 golden ingredients to what we need to be able to deliver in Hemsby and certainly in Belle Aire. And the one thing is the Great British Seaside and all of the incumbent bits that go with that. So fish and chips and arcades and beaches and donkey rides if they exist, but all of that stuff that we absolutely love about the Great British Seaside. The second thing that people wanted was a little bit of luxury. They don't want drafty chalets and kind of nylon sheets anymore. They want something that feels like at least as good. If they're on holiday in England, they wanted to feel at least as good as the holiday they had in Florida or in Mallorca or in the hotel that they may have stayed on their package holidays. So they do want things to feel like they are getting something that's a little bit special, and perhaps even a little bit more special than they might have at home. And the other thing that they want to feel is that they're getting great value for money. They want to feel that, you know, however much they're paying, that they're always getting great value. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be cheap, but certainly if they are paying whatever they're paying, they want to feel that they're getting good value. So even if they're paying £100, they want to feel that they're getting the most for their £100. So what did we do? Well, we had a little play around actually. We acquired one chalet, and we did it up, and we sort of reinvented it a little bit, and we knocked a few walls down, and we kind of redesigned it, and we didn't spend a fortune, but we went to IKEA and we bought a few bits of choice furniture and made the showers nice, made the floors nice, just kind of made it feel a little bit more modern, and we stuck it on Airbnb to see what would happen, and I think we had something like 94% occupancy since we first put it on Airbnb a little over a year ago. So that's 94% of the time we've had someone in there for the past year. We also, as you'll have noticed, bought some caravans, some sort of luxury caravans, and we thought, well, let's see what, you know, the caravan holidays are really, really popular. Let's take this to the next level and see how that goes. So we've got these beautiful caravans. If you haven't had a look in any of these places, do ask, and we'd be happy to show you the inside of the caravans and the inside of any of the chalets. Don't be shy, we're happy to take you inside and give you a look. So, you know, we're providing towels and sheets and nice duvets and toiletries and little tea and coffee things, so, and people are generally loving it. The other thing that we did was we built a new website, because the first place anyone's going to go when they're thinking about booking a holiday or deciding where they're going to go on holiday, or even while they're on holiday, what they can do while they're on holiday, is the first place they're going to go is to Google, and they're going to have a look and see what's online. So we thought, right, it's about time we built a decent website that kind of perhaps more truly reflects the area and the experience that you could possibly, you know, have by coming to Belle Aire. So as you can see here, we've kind of included the Broads. You know, the Norfolk Broads National Park is on our doorstep. It's a few minutes down the road. You've got amazing walks. You've got amazing beaches. We've got our club and entertainment, and we'll come on and talk a little bit more about that later, but we thought it was really important that we had a really good functioning website. We also did we were grasped the digital metal and did some nationwide advertising, all online advertising, which is much more cost effective to do it that way. But because we do get customers from all over the place, and actually when we look at who's visiting our website, we're getting people from that whole middle section across England, so from as far afield as sort of Lichfield and Shrewsbury in the west, to East Anglia, Essex, London, etc., etc. So going nationwide we thought was important, because, you know, Norfolk is a place where everybody in the UK comes to visit. So we ran some nationwide advertising, again sort of trying to position Belle Aire as kind of like the good old wholesome classic British seaside values, but with a bit of feeling a bit more modern and appealing to kind of like the millennial generation as much as anything else. So, we did all that. Did it work? Well, one of our adverts, whether it's on Google or whether it's sort of a piece of remarketing, we have, according to our analytics, an advert has been seen. So the Belle Aire name has been seen by nearly 300,000 eyeballs, but yeah, nearly 300,000 times. So it's popped up on someone's Google search around the place nearly 300,000 times. One of our ads has been clicked on nearly 11,500 times. So that's either to look for more information or to book a holiday. So we're sort of thinking that that's really not bad going in terms of redemption rates. We're kind of up there. So we're getting some traction as well. So that's any time anyone goes onto the website to look for, what the entertainment's on or how much a holiday might be, etc., etc. We've had 300 visitors to the website. 43,000 people have kind of gone onto the website and had a little look. And 75% of our bookings, all of our bookings, have come direct to us from a standing start. So we didn't actually launch the website until the middle of February, and we've managed to not have to rely on the Airbnbs and not have to rely too much on booking.coms or outside agents. We've managed to attract a lot of bookings to ourselves. And in our accommodation, we've had about a 65% occupancy from a standing start with no database, with no previous customers to talk to and try and entice in.
And no caravans until April.
And no caravans until April. Yes, from spring 2019. So we're sort of thinking, actually, there's something in this. People do want to come to Hemsby. They do want to come here, and they're interested. They're engaged. And we have been charging. We've been fooling around with the price, and we have taken. So we're operating at about a 125% margin to some of. We're just sort of looking at some of the averages, but we were looking at So, for example, a 3-day weekend in one of our chalets will cost you £225. You can get a weekend in another chalet at £100. So that's basically the kind of the difference that we're talking, and we haven't had anybody complaining about the price. So the reason I'm just putting that out there is just that sometimes in life you can just be a little bit too cheap. You don't necessarily have to always go to the bottom. And we've got a lot of very, very happy customers. We've had a lot of happy customers. I think we've been getting some really, really, really good reviews. Which brings me on to, and we've got also, last point here. We're now getting a qualified database of customers who want to hear from us. So they've said, they've ticked the box to say, yes, I am happy to receive marketing material from Belle Aire. So we're growing that number. So the importance of reviews, they are really, really important. I mean, I don't know how many of you in this room would even consider buying a Hoover without checking a review, would you? How many of you use reviews when you're buying things online? Especially when you're buying a holiday, right? So, making sure that we get people to do the reviews, and that we are sort of always trying for good ones is really, really important. So people will look at that and they'll go, oh look, it's excellent. Oh hang on, there's a couple down there that are terrible. Let's have a look and see what's going on there. Because it only takes one bad review to really ruin it. One bad apple to kind of spoil the whole barrel. So it's, we're working really, really hard to kind of try and eliminate that. One of the things that we did have to do on the TripAdvisor page is that there are lots and lots of individual owners who are renting, and they've got their own individual TripAdvisor page, and that's great, and they're getting their reviews there. However, we felt that if people were Googling Belle Aire, they'd be Googling Belle Aire, and they'd get onto the Belle Aire TripAdvisor page, and we'd have to, that we needed to kind of take control of that. It turned out that because customers can set up TripAdvisor pages in order to review somewhere, someone had set up a TripAdvisor page for Belle Aire, and it wasn't great. The reviews were really bad. And we don't know where he was staying, we don't know any of those things, but we kind of slightly lost control of it. So we took back control of that TripAdvisor page and have been directing as many reviews to that page as possible. But, so I'm just sort of going to ask the question is, would you book a chalet where if you saw a review that said, avoid it like the plague? You would?
Yeah. The thing is, I once read really bad reviews about a hotel. And we'd already booked the hotel, so we were going no matter what. And the hotel was lovely, stuff amazing. But because I read all these bad reviews, it affected my experience. So I don't read TripAdvisor reviews anymore. I do, and so if it says avoid like the plague, yeah, I still go, because my holiday is what I make it. It's not what other people.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's absolutely fair enough. I think that's fair enough. But a lot of people don't. And when you kind of say, well, got to the chalet, it smelled of bleach and BO, it was drafty, the crockery was dirty, the chalet looked like a throwback to the ghettos of the 70s, blah, 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 the worst accommodation, when you've got reviews like that, I think you are an exception to the rule, to be honest. I think most people would sort of sit there and think, oh God, I'll think twice. I'll think twice before I go to this place, because however many good reviews, there's always that. So what concerns us a little bit about this is just it's that there is no consistency of standard, and I guess that's really what we're sort of trying to say, is that that's what we need to strive for amongst all of us, is to get a consistency of standard. It doesn't mean that you have to offer a 5-star experience, or you have to spend an absolute fortune, or you have to charge an absolute fortune, because we've had these are some great reviews which are, it's basic but value for money. We stayed in both Carefree and Blue Ribbon and found little difference. The chalet accommodation is basic but well equipped and very clean, perfect for a self-catering holiday. All it needs to be is clean, tidy, comfy, and that the customer feels that they're being looked after, ultimately. And whether they're paying £100 or whether they're paying £300, as long as they feel that they're getting value for money, and that for their £100, there isn't dirty crockery or dirty cutlery or whatever it might be, that they're getting a good experience. So we've got a couple of newish owners who've been coming on site and have been buying chalets to let. And one couple is Hemsby. So they've done something kind of, they've taken on a chalet, they've kind of done it up. And the first one went well, and the second one went well, and they now own 4 chalets on the site. All of them are pretty much booked up. And I think that they are charging roughly around somewhere between £65 and £80 a night, which depending on the season. So again, they haven't sort of spent a fortune on their chalets, they haven't spent a fortune on marketing, they've just put them on Airbnb, they're full, and they're doing really, really well, and they're getting amazing reviews. Again, don't just take their word for it, they're getting some great reviews, and these are the reviews that they're getting on Airbnb. So that's the point that we wanted to make. We just wanted to sort of say that, we've got a great location, a great destination. This is somewhere where people really, really want to come. People do want a different experience to perhaps what they've had in the past. They want a bit more luxury. They want a little bit more than they probably had in the past. And we, as a sort of community, if you like, need to be able to offer an experience which is competitive with other experiences that the same people are having in elsewhere, in other places. So they need to feel that this is as good as, if not even slightly better, than some of the other experiences that they're having, and that it's consistent. Whether you're booking a chalet through us, whether you're booking a chalet through someone else, whether you're borrowing your chalet from one of your family members or friends, but everyone's having a great experience.
Even if you're just beginning using it yourself,
yeah, if you're just coming up here for weekends on your own, and bringing your family up here, you don't want to feel that you want to feel that you're in a great location. and you're getting a good experience. But of course, it's not all about the accommodation, is it? It's also about what happens on the park and in the area and what's being offered. So we've done a little video of the So there is a soundtrack, but because they're not wired up to the speakers, you can't hear it.
It's not very good music.
It's not
They're
good
not
music
listening.
anymore. Sorry. It was the music festival. How many people came to the music festival this year? No one in this room. Oh, you did? You did?
Nobody came to the music festival? Come on, that's all.
So that's kind of the Belle Aire that we all know and love, and it's that sort of whole experience that we're trying to kind of, as I say, sort of bring into the 21st century and keep the whole place as relevant as we possibly can. So on that note, I'm going to pass you over to Peter, who is our customer experience guru, who's going to be just giving you a quick chat about what we're doing in that department.
Thank you. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
If I get a bit nervous or anything, apologies. Although I have been a performer, you can perform a song or act in front of an audience, but in this very intimate, quiet moment, if I shake a bit like Mrs. Oval, I apologise. So, just a quick thing about me. My name's Peter, I'm 37. I've been in the holiday industry since I was 18, in and out of different kind of roles, predominantly in the entertainment industry, but I took a step back about 7 years ago. Ironically, this is my 1 year, 1 day anniversary. I've loved the year. But what I want to say ironically, it was really weird. When I came here for an interview, I came through the gate, and I was like, something feels like I've been here before. And then when I spoke to my mum, it turned out this was my first holiday that I ever took with my family. And my nan and Ramsden, a bit emotional actually, remembering it. When I was younger. And we stayed in the chalet. It was really lovely, and to actually come back and find that I'm actually working here now, it's really quite exciting. So a bit about me, I'm the experience manager, which means it's all about the experience, predominantly for the holiday makers on site, and also a voice for you guys to come to and express some ideas that we can put forward. Because within my first month of being here, I listened to a few people that were speaking at the bar and saying like a nice shop or a cafe would be great. And to be fair, when I rocked up and just saw the opening into what was the kitchen and selling instant coffee for £1, I was like, okay, what have I got myself in for? Which kind of works well for a community centre, but not for a holiday park. So I made some few steps to start with, listening to some ideas. I had to really push it past these guys, and they weren't going to move at first, and I had to kind of do a bit of song and dance around it, and then slowly kind of warm to the idea. And whilst it's not profitable at the moment, I think you'll all agree it's actually quite a nice little asset on the park, having that cafe at the front there. And it's lovely. The coffee's great. The coffee is from Norwich itself, so if you have any holiday homes, so those that are letting their holiday homes out, these are little things which you can tell people that we are supporting things that are Norfolk, that are local, and that's what we want to encourage more of. However, in terms of food, it does make it difficult, because if you buy local, there is a price to pay. on those. But we are going to be looking at doing things like kippers, because a lot of people have said about having kippers because they don't like doing it at home because it stinks their house out. So we'll take the stink, and they can come and enjoy it, and then we'll be eating those little dabs and crabs and things. So we are looking at sort of like how we can, make it organic and rustic and that, real nice, homely, warm feeling. And then we're going to continue to grow on that. So I'm going to touch first of all on entertainment. So luckily I get to work alongside the lovely Lee Brown, who's going to so I think you'll all agree that some of the entertainment that was new this year has been fantastic, and some little risks that were taken that really paid off. One that really surprised me was seeing middle-aged people dancing, having a great time to Ed Sheeran, which I actually thought were going to get swamped with 20, 30-year-olds causing an absolute ruckus, which I was actually going to hate. And it turned out to be an awesome evening. So he is booked in again for next year. We've also got a couple of new kind of weekends, so our Legends weekend is going to see the likes of George Michael and things on an appearance, so that's going to be awesome. Again, our festival. So when Lee gets back from Phuket, yes, he's going to Phuket in next week, for a couple of weeks, he gets back, we're going to sit down, work out some sort of like different new and exciting ideas for next year, which will encompass food, dining, and overall experience is really going to kind of U-turn what's being on offer here, and really push forward. So those that are letting your properties out on a holiday let, it's information which we'll get done as soon as possible so you can let your guests know what's going on. But I'd just like to say what an asset, and I think you'll all agree, Lee is to the entertainment park, and it can't be easy having to call the same bingo numbers or sing Baby Shark consistently every night and still do it as if it's the best thing on the earth. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Lee.
I still love Baby Shark!
So we are booking currently, so whilst some of you do have some great ideas for kind of like cabaret acts or some ideas, jot them down on some of the post-its, pop it up on the board, and Lee's going to have a look at those and see what we can kind of get from those. So just moving back over to the food, obviously all our staff are fantastic, and they do work hard, and sometimes it can be very difficult to keep a smile on the face when you're at work, and you've got people that want their drink now really quickly, and fantastic team at the bar. And may I just say as well, a great asset to the team this year as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Mo. So Mo won't mind me saying this. So Mo's in her mid-70s, aren't you, Mo? Mid-70s young, and she's been an absolute great asset to us. She's a powerhouse in the kitchen in the morning. The breakfasts are slow some days, but when they are busy, she's there and she's whacking them out, and she's absolutely
She's done 32 breakfasts this morning.
32 breakfasts, and I think
and if you haven't tried them, if you haven't had one of Mo's breakfasts, you haven't lived.
Which brings us on to the food. We're not, same with our holiday lets, and our holiday lets, we're not here to be in competition with anybody on park. We're just actually going to raise the game and say for those who are falling short, who aren't doing it, and who would say we're offering cheap accommodation for those that can't afford accommodation, it's not. You're actually exploiting those who think it's okay to give them nylon bed sheets and a dripping shower. No, it's not. Just, it's actually giving them quality for their money. And with our shop, for instance, we're not offering sausages that are stuffed with chicken beaks and bung holes. No, it's not. It's actually sausages that are actually predominantly pork, and good bacon, good eggs, decent breakfast and a nice little surrounding. But we're not just throwing from anything that's down Beach Road or anything, because you get what you pay for. So if you go down there and you're looking for a bigger breakfast that's cheaper, then we're not there. We're just offering something different, and that's all we're doing there in the cafe. So, which I suppose brings us on to the road. So basically, so from small acorns, mighty oaks grow. So the cafe has been moved for 2019. We are going to grow that along with the rentals. And on the side of that, those who do have holiday chalets, I just spoke to some new owners, Paul and Barbara. Did I get that right? Yeah. I'm slowly going to be working alongside some maybe new independent owners to kind of like raise the game, raise the profile on the park, and offer some really great holiday experiences, and the entertainment, food, everything. The job I had before, where I worked for Forest Holidays, has anyone been on Forest Holidays before? No, because it's probably about just shy of £4,000 for about a week's holiday, in a forest, in a cabin, and our biggest competitors at the time were Centre Parks. Now Centre Parks had a big swimming pool, and it was free, you can do that, but you pay extortionate prices for the other sports and things that you want to do on the side. We don't need to have a swimming pool here, so those that say we need to have a swimming pool, we don't need the swimming pool here. What we need to do is offer a really great experience. Our entertainment, we have taken most of August now, that's apart from I think 4 bookings we've got left. August is booked out, which is 15% higher than it was this year, and some of those have come from Richardson's. What they've got going on over there is great, however, the entertainment has been falling short for them, so good for us. We've been having those people come over and enjoying the entertainment in turn, books our accommodation. Some of you may have actually received some bookings as well that you hadn't received before. So we know we're getting stuff right, and we know we're going to get better. So here's to a great 2020. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing? You're talking about entertainment here, which is fantastic. But we all have I'm not sure I love we can't get in.
No, we are looking at sort of how we can actually incorporate some more
When
space.
so Richardson's really come here, we're not on to is it?
No, I mean that's there's not an awful there's not an awful lot we can do about that because we this venue is completely and utterly self-funding. So we have to attract customers however we can. So we made a decision that we would, make it open for everybody, come winter or summer. We're not big enough. I mean, that ultimately is what it comes down to. But we did obviously extend in 2018 as much as we possibly could. But the venue isn't big enough, and until we can invest in making the venue bigger, there's not a huge amount that we can do about that. It's something that we can think about for 2020 in terms of whether or not there's any kind of priority seating that we might be able to do for owners, and so that you are able to to have priority over people from other parks. I think that is something that we can certainly look at, but I'm not sure that we would want to be turning customers away because they're not on the park. So the thing about Richardson's obviously is that Richardson's own everything. So everything that happens on Richardson's is for Richardson's, whereas we don't have that. So this is our sort of this club is our sort of place where we're sort of making the money. But I do absolutely get the point.
The whole point is the holiday is can't be everything downstairs. If they do stuff, it's just for them.
No. I mean, it's a good point, and it's something that we need to look at. So thank you for making that point. Thank you. Over to you, Alec.
Thank you.
On to some more structural stuff.
So, you know me, I'm Alec. I'm not 37. In fact, I'm 59 years old, 50 weeks and 1 day. So please don't organise a surprise birthday party for me the week after next. I wasn't expecting that. So I'm more operations based and have to get the sort of the tricky stuff done. On the sheet I've got in front of me, it says Wi-Fi on here. This is the sort of thing that we've introduced in the last couple of years to try and move into the century. To be honest with you, it wasn't something I relished taking on. It's fraught with problems. I travelled around, looked at lots of parks, spoke to lots of people, different company providers. It would be the easiest thing in the world to say, I don't want to do this, let's just forget it. let people use dongles, let people use their mobile phones, but we had to. It's something that we had to bring on because that's what people, owners expect, holidaymakers expect. So we did it, spent an awful lot of money with the infrastructure. We started off using a series of BT-style broadband feeds. Had a few little hiccups as more and more subscribers came on board, so we had to constantly keep upgrading. We now have what they call a lease line. It's a dedicated lease line, so it serves just us. It's not affected by the houses down the road, other customers. It's clean and it serves just us. I can't quote you the numbers, that probably wouldn't mean anything to you, the gigabytes and megabytes, but it's really quite considerable. Holiday parks aren't like your village with your fibre optic feeds and the such like. There's lots of problems. I am confident. I met with the contractor Bennington, who if you use it you'll be familiar with, and I'm sure that we've got the best that we could possibly have on a holiday park. I hope that those that subscribe get a 90% of this good service. But yeah, it's something that we had to do, and it's one of those things that's expected nowadays.
I think it's worth kind of pointing out that, you know, as many of you will know, that Norfolk and lots of rural areas in the country are really badly served by broadband facilities. And sure enough, when my dad built this park, we didn't put in any phone lines. There were no phone lines, you know, so there are no phone lines that we're hooking up to. So we have got this sort of one line that kind of comes in, and then it's transmitting broadband signals to all of the individual channels and caravans, and obviously at a bandwidth which will allow for the kind of internet usage which is now expected. You know, you get people coming in. The first thing, what is the first thing that any kid asks their parents when they go into somewhere new? Thank you. What is the Wi-Fi password? So if you don't do it and you haven't got it going and up and running in the first 5 minutes, you've got some very unhappy young people around. So we were really, really keen that we got amazing Wi-Fi, and you don't have Wi-Fi at Richardson's. They haven't bothered. So again, it's something else which on this part, I think we've probably got one of the best systems that we can possibly get, albeit it's not perfect all of the time.
Especially during the summer when we had a massive lightning strike, knocked out no end of the properties, cost us, you don't need to know this, but it cost us £15,000 and a whole lot of work to get it, just repair that damage from the lightning strike. So Bennington worked as hard as they possibly could at that time to try and keep it all going. They weren't 100% successful. I think at the time, I think they were probably keeping about 80% up and running, switching it about, doing everything that they could. But I don't know if people can remember that it was quite some storm. All the lights went out in here, and it really did us some damage. That's all now been sorted, so we're back to normal. You know, if there's any little hiccups, little outages on Wi-Fi, well, let Peter know. Okay. Exactly. Yeah, let's move on. Here's something new. Decks for chalets. What we saw was with the caravans, with balconies and decks, they're absolutely gorgeous. Everybody likes to throw the doors open, sit outside, you know, bring the indoors out, the outdoors in. We thought about it long and hard. I was a little bit reluctant because I think about things like grass cutting and trimming and the sort of the boring stuff. But anyway, we've done a couple. We did a prototype on our chalet 299, and then we had another go, very successful, we had another go on chalet 213. So if anybody's interested, wants to have a look, that's the shining example, is the chalet 213. Now,
sorry, one of the things that we did, you know, we notice as we go around the park, especially on sort of chalet, is if you've got a caravan, it's slightly easier to customise your space, and to make your, you know, you can use things like decking to kind of make it feel a bit more like your own. With the chalets, it's less easy to customise, and what we're in danger of having is too many people customising in their own way, and what they think is great, maybe other people don't think is quite so great. So we've decided that actually what we should do is find a solution that people can have, have the outdoors in and the indoors out, and find a solution which looks great and works for everyone. So you're not necessarily having one person who thinks a windbreak around 3 or 4 windbreaks around the front of the chalet looks great, and someone else has put a fence around and blah blah blah. So it's clear that that is a need that everyone has. So we thought this would be a good way of kind of keeping everything neat and tidy, and they do look amazing.
We've probably been under par in the past with keeping an eye on what's happening outside the chalets. It's the one bad apple thing. You can have a lovely square. We can cut the grass. The boys are really good. We all know that. And one chalet has got ladders and building materials and boxes and bicycles that are rusty outside these sports, and look at the whole place. What we're after is something that's clean, smart, really beneficial to the user, and is consistent, reasonably consistent across the park. Not everybody's going to want it. You don't have to have it. It's nothing to do with your lease. It's just an opportunity to just do a little bit more with the chalet and spread the usable area. Claire over here. Are you there, Claire?
I'm here.
Yeah. Claire's our chosen contractor. Come up with as competitive a price as we can possibly arrive at. We do want them to be consistent. We do want them to essentially look the same. There is the option to choose a different colour for the actual decking board, but we are advocating the dark-ish charcoal grey colour. It looks great, and it's more user-friendly, and it doesn't look dirty quickly, and so on and so forth. So if anybody's interested, you've all had the letters about it, if anybody's interested, talk to us, let us know. We can book it in with Claire and get it done for you. Lady shaking her head, you don't have to have it.
No, I haven't.
You haven't had it. Did you get your, are you chalet owner? Did you get your bill? You haven't had your bill? Well, I'll definitely get your bill to you. Well, the letter that went out had the invitation today. Right, so did he get the letter? How much? The decking, how much? £2,895, including VAT. And we did in the letter a promotion just to get the ball rolling. We reduced the price a little bit for 5, and on day 1 we got orders for 7. So they're gone now, I'm afraid. Anything else to say about decking?
No, I think that's it. The only thing I will add is that if you are in a corner chalet, then it's a slightly different arrangement. So we have to kind of measure those up slightly differently, and they are a little bit more expensive because you get more area. But that's a sort of that's a kind of a deal with on application. So if you're in a corner chalet, then
absolutely
it's
call me or email me, and we'll get you a bespoke quote.
Okay, so on the subject of customisation, go?
Belle Aire in bloom.
Belle Aire in bloom. I don't know how many of you, well, winners are over here.
Yeah, we had the idea of promoting Belle Aire in bloom, just to give people something to think about, make the place look pretty.
Again, deal with the whole customisation thing. It's like, everybody wants to make their place look their own. And, in fact, it is a bit sort of stark, isn't it, having a whole row of white PVC chalets and things, and, just sort of bare caravans, and you sort of go around some of the other caravan parks around here, and they're not allowed to do anything at all. And we're sort of thinking, well, actually, how wrong can you go with flowers? How badly wrong can it go? It just can't, and plants. So that's why we sort of came up with the idea. It allows people to customise their property, and it just looks nice.
Absolutely. And if you've got a deck, what a lovely thing, have the flowers on your deck.
So we had one of the Britain in Bloom judges, who was a guy who used to run the parks at Great Yarmouth Borough Council for years and years, and was also one of the nationwide Britain in Bloom judges. So he really, really knew his stuff. He's retired now and lives in the area. And he came on board and helped us pull the whole thing together. He helped us set the criteria, set kind of the prizes, and he ran a few workshops. Some of you came along to that. And I think a lot of people were kind of thinking, oh, well, I'm not here all the time, so I can't really keep the pots, I can't keep pots and flowers alive. But there are loads and loads of different ways of doing it, of using alpines and cacti and sort of all of these sort of drought-loving plants. And I think one of the things that we saw, and I can see there are sort of quite a few people in today who did take part, there was sort of quite a nice little community competitive spirit going on, and people really kind of threw themselves into it. And you guys especially went crazy and did an amazing display, right down to people just not, being Maureen, I think, again. Well, yeah, a couple of things to say actually. Even on this picture here, there was a little basket of lettuce. Doesn't that look amazing? It just looks so nice. And hanging baskets, and like you said, the alpines, which don't need too much water. And then this is Maureen's display here, where she got won second prize overall, because of the creative use of kind of an old palette. Didn't spend an absolute fortune, just got some really nice little plants, and it just brightens up the whole place. So we're going to be running it again, and we'd love more people to take part because it's great fun. And we will have sort of newcomers awards, and we have these little workshops. So if you've never done gardening before in your life, it doesn't matter. We can just, just kind of have a go. And if you're not here all the time, there are sort of plenty of other people around who can maybe help you water your plants, or you choose the right plants that don't mind being left. Anyway, it's a great thing that we really enjoyed doing, so we'd love more people to be involved next year.
Yeah, and it's all about making your places look really nice as well, and that's something that we really need everybody to come on board with and do their little bit. We'll try as hard as we can to keep the general area of the park looking good and nice for everybody, but we do rely on individuals to do their bit. I will just quickly touch on something that's an issue now. It's autumn time, the leaves are falling. We've got issues all across the park with surface water drainage. Soakaways that were built donkeys years ago, old style soakaways, have sucked up. The drains get blocked and they don't work properly. Where we're identifying those, we're going around and we're doing some improvements and putting in some modern style drainage crates to improve those situations. But what we do need is owners to just keep an eye on the guttering. It's your responsibility to clean the gutters on your properties. And okay, I can hear it now. you know, well, the leaves on the trees, they get in the gutter and it's difficult to look after. But one of the things I've always loved about this park is it's green and it's got trees. We don't want to go around cutting trees down. We spend quite a lot of money on tree surgery every year, trimming bits and pieces. But please keep an eye on your guttering on your chalets. And if you can stop the leaves going down the rainwater pipes, and the soakaways won't get blocked, and then you won't get damp coming in the chalet. So just help us out there as best you can, please. So, something else we had a go at this year, recycling. Several chalet owners have been talking to me and Sally and the rest of the team about you know, we didn't have any recycling facility for the refuse. I've resisted for some time because I didn't think it would work, and to be perfectly blunt, it hasn't worked. We put in 4 dedicated bins for recycling waste. And unfortunately, what happens, if there's any general waste goes in those bins, then that whole bin is contaminated and is treated and charged for as general waste. So one of those bins that's for recycled materials only, it's cheaper per unit for those to be emptied and taken away, but as soon as they're contaminated, they're treated, as I say, as general waste. And I spoke to the refuse contractors last week, and every single bin on every single lift since they've been in has had some kind of contamination in it. So we're not going to give up, we'll keep looking at options. In the meantime, the refuse contractors tell us that when the rubbish gets taken away, it all gets filtered and hand-picked through. So there is quite a considerable element of recycling takes place anyway, but it's not working here. And it's no one individual, it's human nature, I think. And on a day like this, you're going to go to the nearest bin, chuck the rubbish in there, and if it's a recycling bin, it's immediately contaminated. So we had the bins we had put in were extra, so we've been paying a bit more this year for the refuse disposal just because of the number of units that we've had. I think we'll probably keep the same number of bins because they do get filled pretty quickly, especially in the summer. So I don't think we'll reduce the number next year again, and we might just keep flogging it and keep those bins and just see what happens, because it doesn't make any difference whether they're marked as recycling or not. It just gets charged to us as general waste. So maybe down the line we may be able to have something else, you know, maybe glass recycling or whatever. I don't fancy it at all. All I can picture is a whole lot of broken bottles laying around. You know what you get? You go to the recycling centre and, you know, it's full. There's a box of glass, broken glass, you know, you've got kids all over the place on holiday, you've got cars getting punctures and such like, so I don't fancy it, but maybe in a controlled way that might be something we can look at in the future. So we're trying, we have tried, it hasn't worked, and we'll just keep thinking about it.
I think it's important also to point out that, well, that we've learned quite a lot about the recycling industry and the waste industry in the course of this. That you know, I in my own domestic waste, I have mixed recycling, but I mean, you know, it's very confusing, isn't it? Can you put the black meat trays in? Can't you put the black meat trays in? Do you have to wash everything out? Don't you have to wash everything out? What is right and what is wrong? It's a very, very mixed bag, and also it depends on the contractors and the facilities that they're taking stuff to. Now, our contractors tell us that they take all of the stuff away, they sort it, and some of it goes to landfill, and wherever possible, some of it gets filtered off and turned into biofuel. So that's not too bad. It could be worse. There's still a lot of landfill going on, but it is a bit of a minefield. So I think, you know, as I say,
I deal with it all the time. I know what it's like. It's annoying.
Yeah, yeah. It
It
is.
really is. Especially with fucking up polystyrene and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah, people, yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare to deal with. So as Alex says, bear with us. We're going to try.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think the only other thing to say is every little helps. You know, we're in a coastal area. We all know the issues around plastic and the oceans and all of that sort of stuff. So I think raising awareness and keeping, you know, keeping the whole keeping the place clean and being responsible with our use of plastic, responsible with our litter, responsible when we're on the beach. We're all sort of custodians, if you like, of this little area of coastline. So we all need to kind of take a bit of responsibility. So I'm hoping that we're all on the same page in that department.
well, yeah, I think as time goes by and there's more and more recycling is going to be taking place, and the obstacles that I've had, like the dedicated recycling lorry is in the area, guess what, 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't particularly want a refuse lorry driving around emptying bins outside your chalets and caravans at 5 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully,
Work on it.
hopefully they'll have more lorries doing more collections, and maybe it'll work in the future, but we'll keep at it. Yeah. Okay, so we've got, as we know, chalet owners, caravan owners here, and we're going to have to now just talk a little bit about caravans. So it's pretty obvious that there's a lot of rumours going around about caravans, old caravans, people being kicked off. We want to squash that one. Nobody's been kicked off. We've got quite a bit of natural wastage taking place at the minute. The park was built 20 years ago, and we're now custodians of a caravan park that had quite a lot of 20-year-old caravans on it. What we've done is we've had to draw a line and say that when a caravan becomes of an age, of a value, of a condition, then we can no longer sell that caravan on to another party. So it might be that, you know, if you're the owner of an 18-year-old caravan that is on its last legs, and you come to us and say, I want to get out quick, can you sell it for me for £4,000 or whatever it might be, that then the answer is almost certainly going to be no, we can't. That doesn't mean to say we're kicking anybody off. You can still keep your caravan. You know, we will be writing to everybody that falls into any kind of category and giving them a bit of a heads up on how long their caravan may be allowed on park for, so that they can plan ahead and think about it. And we're open to we're open. You can talk to us. We're easy enough to find.
And I think I don't know. You know, the caravans are one of those weird things. They're a depreciating asset. So the minute you buy, it's like a car. You know, the minute you buy your caravan, it's dropped a load in value. And that sort of carries on and carries on and carries on. And that's where we sort of find ourselves now with, we've got, I think everyone would agree, we've got a great looking caravan park, with some great looking caravans on, but a lot of them are really getting on. We've got some that are over 20 years old. And when people come to us and say, can you resell our caravan? It's like, well, we can't, because there is no value to it. There are parks, like Park Dean, who will take a 22-year-old caravan and will resell it, and will resell it, and will resell it, and will resell it until they decide they don't want to resell it anymore. And it's not worth anything. So they're selling a caravan that might be worth £50 to a trader, or less, or nothing, or just to scrap, for £12,000. And we're not going to do that. We don't think that's a very good business, and we don't think that that's the right way to do business. So we're really keen to work with everyone on the park to kind of, as we say, talk to everybody, make sure everyone's kind of looking after their properties in the way that they should be. And some of you may know or may not know, but Joanne is moving across specifically to just take care of caravans from on caravan sales from here on in. And she's going to be looking at coming up with all sorts of different schemes, part exchange schemes that we might be able to set up, all sorts of different solutions. So, as Alex says, we'll be writing to everyone and we'll be able to have a conversation with everyone on kind of a one-to-one basis as to pertaining to their particular individual circumstances. But no one is going to be chucked off. That's for sure.
And
Unless you do something naughty.
Yes, indeed. We've got terms and conditions, including payment for pitch fees and so on and so forth. So you've got to do your part. If you do your part, we're not going to kick you off. We're going to write to you and say, look, your caravan is of an age, and we think that you want to be thinking of upgrading, changing, buying new second-hand, or you may not perhaps want to do that, and this is what we've had. The plots that you'll see that are empty now have come about through tragedy, illness, people being unable to travel anymore. One lovely couple, they were getting older, not in great health. We couldn't resell their caravan for them, and they gave it up. And in the older caravans, there is no off-park value to them particularly. There might be £500. One caravan, we had to have it cut up and put in a skip. It cost us £1,000. So it was a negative value. So. Oh yeah. So preempting, if you're thinking, are they going to be coming to me any minute now and telling me I'm off in January, February, and I can't have a new pitch agreement? We're not going to be doing that. What we're going to be doing is encouraging you to think ahead. Joanne is pretty clued up. You can talk to her about upgrades, changing your caravan, if that's indeed what you want to do. Okay? So
I hope you just touch a little bit on that, not literally physically touch it. So at the moment we're going through a transition period, and some of you will be aware. So first of all, I want to say a massive thanks to 19 years in the clubhouse, Joanne. Thank you. Thank you for being a round of applause. Joanne's still going to be keeping her finger in the pie from time to time, because there are certain things where, we just need to ask questions and stuff, and like today she graciously kind of helped us out doing the rugby this morning. But she has been literally working tirelessly the past couple of weeks, crazy hours as well in the evenings, just trying to find ways to kind of make things affordable for people, and she really is going to be an advocate for you guys, especially for those that have got caravans. So she's really taken the bull by the horns, shall we say, and it's really great to see. And you'll see some of the others now who have been here quite some time. Two Sams, for instance. We're going to trial something. We're going to trial and see how we can do as a collective, as opposed to having one person. We're going to work as a collective, and hopefully that will bloom fabulous ideas and things moving forward. So thank you.
FAQs, yes. You've got a whole bunch of FAQs on upgrades. So Joanne's got a whole load of literature. If you've got any questions, we've got a lot of frequently asked questions on what is entailed in a caravan upgrade, and what you can do, what you can't do, etc., and what the benefits are.
Joanne may not be able to answer all the questions, of course, but she can listen, take on board what people have got to say, and then we can try and put together as good an option for anybody as we can. We've spoken to so many people in this last few months about the options with older caravans and what we can do. We're desperately trying to put together something that is a bit more appealing than just saying, well, I'm sorry, but your tin box is now worth £500 and see you later. We don't want to do that. Yeah, so are we going to have a break now?
So, well, there's just two more things, just to very, very quickly run through, and then we'll have a quick break, and then we'll come back to some questions. So, really, really quickly, what's happening in 2020? A couple of things. We spoke at the beginning of this a little bit about the performance of our website and how that kind of works well. We don't want to keep that to ourselves. So if there is anybody here who wants to use our website to advertise their property on, we're going to be developing an associate properties page. So it will look a little bit like this. It will, when you go onto our website, you can have the stay with us, chalets, Suffolk caravans, etc., etc. And then you will kind of, on the drop-down menu, there'll be something that says, there'll be our stuff, and then there'll be something that says, can't find what you're looking for here, or if we're full, or anything like that, and it will take you through to the associate page, and then there'll be an advert. So there's two here, there's a chalet and a caravan, and then it will take you into a bit like an Airbnb kind of advert, where you'll have a little bit about the property, a little bit about the owners, and then either a link straight through to your own website, to an email form, to a phone number, however you wanted to work it. If anybody was interested in that, there'll be a sort of a small kind of admin charge from us, but really happy for other people to advertise their properties on there. There will be a sort of a little bit of a minimum standard of offering and things like that, but if you want to talk to us about that, please give us a shout. Okay, so if you want to advertise your property on the website, let us know. We're also looking at, and we haven't found quite the right solution yet, but we're very paper-based, as you're probably all aware, that we're sort of sending out 400 and something, 7 bills, throughout the year, several times throughout the year, and communicating with you. And you've got various ways of sort of paying, but actually there are systems out there, software systems, where we can do a lot of the park management online. So you would have an online account, you'd be able to pay your bills online, you'd be able to buy your gas online, you'd be able to do all sorts of things. We haven't quite found the right thing yet, but we are looking at it and we are working at it. We want to make sure we get the right thing for the right price. So that's something that we are going to be looking into for next year. So hopefully it will make life just a little bit easier for everybody and a little bit more convenient. So that's it really. So what I'd quite like to do now is maybe just have a quick, break for teas and wees for 10 minutes.
Tea and coffee is
Tea and
available.
coffee is available over there. Or you can pick up a drink. You've all got post-it notes on your table. If you've got a question, whack it up on the board now, and then we'll answer those questions as we'll kind of cluster them together and try and answer them as a collective. Okay? So if you can be back here by 1:05, please. Thank you.